One of the consistent challenges we see with business owners on a regular basis is the feeling like they should be further ahead. And oftentimes that feeling comes from the allocation of their money going to the wrong areas in their life. I recently read a book, The Richest Man in Babylon, that holds 7 of the most valuable financial concepts that still hold true today, even though it was written over 100 years ago. I'm Jay Gagnes, and I help make Canadian business owners' goals a reality with innovative financial advice. And I'm going to go through these 7 rules and how they relate to you today to help you accomplish your goals and dreams and make sure you're not feeling like you should be further ahead and your money's going to the right areas to accomplish your dreams. Rule number 1, start thy purse to fattening. This is one of the fundamental basics of financial planning. You've probably read it in other books such as The Wealthy Barber. The concept in there talks about paying yourself first. We talk about allocating money to the 5 big rocks and the most important things in your life. But what it essentially says is take at least 10% of your income and pay yourself first. So put that money aside towards savings and towards growing to make sure that it is allocated to the important areas of your life so it is working for you. Ultimately, what you want to do here is you want to make sure that you are building up an allocation of funds to accomplish your goals and to make sure that money is actually working for you and not being spent. Rule number 2, control thy expenditures. Now, this is a fundamental step in any financial plan. You must know where your cash flow is going. If you're not clear about your cash flow, it's definitely not going to the most important things in your life, and you're gonna end up feeling like you should be further ahead. So when you're organizing your cash flow, it should go in goals first, committed expenses, and then you spend what's left over. What most of us are doing is we're spending, and then whatever is left over goes to goals. We had one client that we had a cash flow plan built that he needed $260,000 a year to organize and allocate towards everything he wanted to accomplish. He pushed back significantly and he said, I need at least $450,000 a year to accomplish everything I want to do. I don't want to operate on a strict budget. Very, very common when we become successful business owners, we don't want to operate on a strict budget. We want freedom, we want control, we want to be able to spend money on whatever makes us happy to accomplish everything that we want to do today, not put all that money aside for the future. This individual pushed back, so we said, let's review your cash flow from the past couple of years to make sure we understand and we know where that money's going. The next meeting, we reviewed the cash flow, and he had spent over $300,000 on items that he did not remember. So it's a big number. It's a number that we decided wasn't necessary on things that he was going to spend every year. So what we did is we gave him a buffer. So a little bit of money that he can spend every single year, but we still put a significant more money into savings. And a couple years later, he was able to accomplish a significant amount of the goals and dreams that he wanted, such as vacation properties on the beach and other additional homes in Arizona where he can go vacation with his family. Number 3, make thy gold multiply. One of the most important and valuable parts of financial planning, because we do not want to work for our money forever. And when you look at where your money is allocated, we want to make sure that that money is growing in such a way that you get to the point of financial freedom. When do we want financial freedom? Well, as business owners and as entrepreneurs, we want financial freedom as soon as possible. We don't want to wait till someday till we can retire to then we can ultimately start enjoying our money. We want it as soon as possible. So getting our money to work for us in an effective way as soon as possible is extremely important. The first $1 million you make is very, very difficult. As many of you know, that first chunk is purely based on hard work. After we start to build up a nest egg and build up some cash, then we can get our money to start working for us. And when the money's working for us, we no longer have to work. So ultimately, we want that financial freedom as soon as possible, not necessarily that retirement is the end goal. So rule number 3, make thy money multiply. Make sure that your money is working for you in an effective way. Rule number 4, guard thy treasures from loss. This one definitely hits close to home for me because I've made some investments into some higher risk allocations that have not done so well. Now, I much would have rather had that money growing at a slower pace and working for me than going to zero. Now, allocating some money to some riskier investments is okay as long as it's a very small component of your portfolio. But you want to make sure that your money is working for you and growing in an effective way to accomplish your goals, and make sure that it's working for you to get to the point where you're not having to work, not going to zero. So make sure that the money you're allocating is not in overly risky investments that you may potentially lose. Rule number 5, make thy dwelling a profitable investment. This one is very unique to today's landscape in Vancouver, especially because real estate has gone up so much, but many people have a significant amount of their wealth inside of their real estate. So very valuable tool to grow your wealth. One of the biggest benefits is your principal residence is completely tax exempt. Number 2, you can leverage against it, so you can get mortgages and you don't have to buy a property with cash. But make sure that your property investment is growing and allocating to a component of your portfolio that's contributing to your wealth. If you're in your later years and you're paying rent, there's not an asset there that you can utilize, and not an asset there that you can leverage, and not an asset there that you can actually benefit from. So the earlier you can afford to buy a house and the earlier you can allocate money towards a house, the better. Now, there are some very innovative ways to do this. Right now, a lot of our clients, we're recommending actually buying your home inside of your corporation. And the reason being is because if your money is inside your corporation, then you don't necessarily want to take that money out, pay a huge amount of tax, and then buy a property. So owning property in your corporation can be a valuable option, as well as using your corporation as a tool to own other real estate, such as rental real estate or vacation real estate or those types of things. So own thy dwelling as a profitable investment. Rule number 6, ensure a future income. So this one goes hand in hand with some of the earlier recommendations, where we want to make sure we're allocating at least 10% of our income. We want to make sure our money's working for us. And we also want to make sure that we have a future income. You do not want to have to work forever. You should be going to work because you love going to work, not because you have to go to work. And the sooner we can get to that point, the better. So make sure that you're allocating and structuring your financial plan so that you have money put aside, and that money can be available for you when you no longer have to work. When building a financial plan, you can allocate that in many different ways in many different years, but ensuring that you have a future income available, whether that's in your corporation, whether that's RSPs, whether that's pensions, whether that's a combination or hybrid of all, whether that's insurance strategies. There's many different ways to ensure that you have a future income. But one of the most important things to make sure that you're tracking is minimizing the tax exposure of that future income. So when building that structure, you want to make sure that you're keeping most of that money in your pocket and not writing bigger checks to CRA. So make sure you have a future income, but also make sure that that future income is coming into your pocket and not paying a huge amount of tax. Rule number 7, increase thy ability to earn. This is one of the most fundamental rules of investing that we always talk about within our process with Ocean 6. And I think it's possibly the best investment that you can make, and that's an investment in yourself. So making sure that you're consistently growing, learning, and educating yourself on how to increase and grow your income in whatever your field or level of expertise might be, as well as investing in your business. So the best investment you can make is in yourself. The second best investment you can make is in your business, and making sure that those things are working for you into the future, and making sure that you have an investment that goes into those areas of growth is extremely important if you want to feel like you should be further ahead and you want to make sure you're accomplishing all of your goals and dreams. So those are the 7 rules of gold coming from the Richest Man in Babylon, over 100 years old. I hope they were helpful, and I hope that they hit home to some of today's recommendations that come from Ocean 6 on how to build an effective financial plan. They definitely still hold true today. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified when new content is uploaded. If you're interested in learning more, click here to take a look at more videos.